Today we will be talking about demonstratives, that is this, these, versus that and those. Before we start, let's talk about what demonstratives are and what they're used for. So, quick introduction. What are demonstratives? Demonstratives, this, that, these, and those, are similar to articles, that is, they come before nouns, or they replace nouns as pronouns. And what are they used for? Demonstratives indicate distance and connect ideas. So let's talk a little bit more about how they indicate distance and connect ideas. So a quick overview of the uses. These are the three main uses. Demonstratives, that, this, these, and those, are used to indicate the distance to the speaker in time, space, or meaning that a noun phrase has. So for example, you can borrow this pen. Okay, this pen that is in my hand. Okay. Here I don't need to say that is in my hand because I'm using the demonstrative, this. We'll look at this a little bit more in depth later. When demonstratives are used to connect ideas, they have two main purposes. The first one is to refer to previously introduced noun phrases. For example, the students who played baseball were late to class. Those students were penalized. Here, those students is referring to the students who played baseball, but we're replacing it with a noun phrase with those students. We can also use demonstratives to summarize previous ideas. These are often used often as a pronoun. So for example, in the US, many people want to end the right to carry guns. However, this is a very controversial issue. Here, this is referring to the desire to end the right to carry guns, and it's referring to it being a controversial issue. Okay, moving forward now, let's talk about the form of demonstratives. Okay, so the demonstratives, the form of the demonstratives, one versus many. The demonstratives indicate when a noun phrase is singular or plural. We use this and that for a singular noun. So for example, that pitcher, there's only one pitcher, is going to strike out this batter. There's only one batter. Okay, so here, pitcher is singular, that pitcher, and batter is singular, this batter. Okay, moving forward, the demonstratives also indicate when a noun phrase is plural, and we use these and those for plural nouns. So for example, right here, they're going to talk about the chess pieces, and keep in mind there are many chess pieces, and she says those black pieces, okay, those plural pieces, plural, look shinier than these white pieces. These pieces, plural. Okay, moving forward now. Demonstratives can also be used as pronouns. Use this and that for singular pronouns, and use these and those for plural pronouns. So here, this boy is going to talk about the game of chess. He's going to say, this is a hard game. Here, this is a hard game. It's a singular pronoun for the hard game. Moving forward now, let's talk about demonstratives, near versus far demonstratives. So, demonstratives can be used to show how close an item is to the speaker in space and time and meaning. Again, going back to the original sentence, that pitcher is going to strike out this batter. Let's talk a little bit more about this. So, in terms of space, use this and these for things that are near, and use that and those for things that are far. If we look at these two kids again, they're playing chess, and he's looking down at his black pieces that are near him, and he's looking at the white pieces that are far from him. Okay, and he's going to say, this black knight is going to knock out 3 of those white pawns. Okay, so here the black knight that's near him is going to knock out 3 of those white pawns that are far from him. Moving forward now, let's talk about how demonstratives can be used to refer to time. Use this and these for things that are near to the present, and use that and those for things that are far from the present. Okay, so anything closer to the present is this and these, far from the present, that and those. So if we look here at this table shows the improvement stats for the Blue Jays for this year, and it compares them to their performance last November. Okay, and it shows a big difference, and it shows improvement. So here we go. This year's players practice harder than those players from last year. Here we're this year is referring to a year present, the present year, so it uses this, okay? And those players from last year is far from the present, okay? So we say those players, all right? So to summarize, this and these, things near to the present, that and those, things that are far from the present. Okay, moving forward. In terms of meaning, we use this and these for things that a speaker cares about, or for things that are near to the speaker emotionally. We use that and those for things that a speaker doesn't care about, or for things that are far from the speaker emotionally. If we look at this couple right here, they are arguing about presidential candidates. And this is a famous Norman Rockwell painting of a couple arguing about which presidential candidate from the 1948 US election would be better. Here the husband is arguing for Dewey, and the wife is adamantly supporting Truman. So the husband is yelling and he's saying, this candidate is better than that other guy. Okay, and of course this candidate is the one that he holds dearly, is close to him, and emotionally he prefers. And that other guy he does not like, he doesn't prefer, and he hates it. Moving forward now, let's talk about how demonstratives connect ideas. Okay, so demonstratives can be used to connect ideas and increase coherence in a report or an essay by referring to a previously introduced noun phrase, by indicating as a pronoun a previously mentioned idea, by summarizing a point, also as a pronoun or an article, and by indicating the opinion of the writer speaker to a previously mentioned idea by using expressions such as controversial argument, disputable or indisputable fact, unquestionable or questionable claim, and undisputed or disputed fact. Let's look at this in more detail right now. Here is a paragraph, and we're going to look at the various ways in which demonstratives are used to connect several different ideas in this paragraph together. So I'm going to read this very carefully, quickly, and then I want you to take about 10 seconds to find all of the demonstratives and think about which noun phrase or idea is being summarized. So here we go. Recently, the U.S. has experienced a lot of extreme hurricanes. Many scientists argue that this phenomenon is a result of global warming. However, this is a very controversial claim. Some politicians argue that people are placing buildings in the path of these hurricanes, so the damages are great. This controversial argument has its opponents as well. These opponents argue that global warming results in warmer water, which results in stronger hurricanes. Okay, take about 10 seconds right now to find a few demonstratives, that is this, that, these, and those, and to connect them to the noun phrases or the ideas that they are summarizing. Okay, take about 10 seconds now. Okay, let's go over this together and let's investigate how the demonstratives are working in this paragraph. First, recently, U.S. has experienced a lot of extreme hurricanes, and many scientists argue that this phenomenon is the result of global warming. Here, this phenomenon is referring to the U.S. experiencing a lot of extreme hurricanes. So we are using a demonstrative to refer to a previously introduced idea. Here's the a lot of extreme hurricanes, the experience of a lot of extreme hurricanes. Furthermore, some politicians argue that people are placing buildings in the path of these hurricanes, so the damages are great. So we're going to be looking at these hurricanes, and it's referring to the extreme hurricanes in the U.S. Okay, so here again, we're using a demonstrative to refer to a previously introduced idea. Here, our idea is extreme hurricanes, okay, in the U.S. Okay, moving forward, let's look at this. Many scientists argue that this phenomenon is a result of global warming. However, this is a controversial claim. Let's look at what this is pointing to, referring to, summarizing. Here, it's referring to this phenomenon as a result of global warming. So we're using this demonstrative as a pronoun to summarize and refer to a previously introduced idea. Here we're summarizing, this is summarizing that the phenomenon, that people argue that the phenomenon is a result of global warming. Okay, moving forward now, some politicians argue that people are placing buildings in the path of these hurricanes, so the damages are great. This controversial argument has its opponents as well. So this controversial argument, okay, is referring to the argument proposed by politicians that people are placing buildings in the path of hurricanes, and so the damages are great. So here again, we're using a demonstrative, but here the demonstrative is not only referring to a previous argument, but it's also indicating the writer or speaker's opinion, because we're using the word controversial argument. When we use this word controversial argument, we're saying that the speaker disagrees with this opinion of the politicians. Moving forward. So to quickly summarize, review how to connect ideas. Demonstratives can be used to connect ideas and increase coherence in a report or an essay by referring to previously introduced noun phrases, by indicating as a pronoun a previously mentioned idea, by summarizing a point, by indicating the opinion of the writer-speaker to previously mentioned idea by using expressions such as controversial argument, indisputable fact, unquestionable claim, and undisputed fact. And quickly summarize everything, the three biggest main points, main uses. Quick overview is that demonstratives, that, this, and these, and those are used to indicate the distance to the speaker in time, space, or meaning that a noun phrase has, such as you can borrow this pen that is in my hand, but I don't have to say this. When I say this pen, I don't have to say that is in my hand. And to refer to previously introduced noun phrases. Again, the students who played baseball were late to class. Those students, which students? The students who played baseball. Okay, those students were penalized. And lastly, it can be used to summarize previous ideas. These are often as a pronoun. So in the U.S., many people want to end the right to carry guns. However, what is this? The want to end the right to carry guns. This is a very controversial issue. So here are my references. If you have any questions, thoughts, or concerns, please email me. Thank you so much for watching, and I look forward to seeing you in class.